On a quiet Saturday morning, Daniel walked slowly down a small street in the city. The air was cool, and the sky was soft and gray. He did not have many plans for the day. He only wanted to relax after a long week of work. Daniel was 26 years old. He worked in a small office as a junior designer. His life was simple. He woke up early, took the bus, worked all day, and came home in the evening. Sometimes he felt that life moved too fast, and he did not have time to think. That morning, he decided to visit a small coffee shop near the park. He liked this place because it was quiet and warm. Soft music played in the background, and the smell of fresh coffee filled the air. When Daniel opened the door, a small bell rang. He smiled and walked to the counter. "Good morning," the barista said. "What would you like?" "A cup of hot coffee, please," Daniel replied. He paid and took his drink. Then he looked around for a seat. Near the window, he saw an empty table. He walked over and sat down. Outside, people walked by with umbrellas and jackets. Some were talking, some were laughing, and some looked busy. Daniel took a sip of coffee and felt relaxed. He opened a small notebook and began to write. He liked to write his thoughts when he had time. After a few minutes, the door opened again. A woman walked in. She looked around the shop as if she was searching for someone. Daniel looked up without thinking. For a moment, he felt surprised. The woman looked familiar. She walked closer to his table, and suddenly their eyes met. "Daniel?" she said softly. Daniel stood up quickly. "Emily? Is that you?" They both smiled in surprise. Emily laughed a little. "Wow, I can't believe it. It's been so many years." "Yes," Daniel said. "Please, sit down." Emily sat across from him. She looked almost the same as he remembered, but also different. Her hair was shorter, and she looked more confident. "I didn't expect to see you here," Daniel said. "Me neither," Emily replied. "I just moved back to the city last week." Daniel felt happy. Emily was his old friend from high school. They used to study together and talk about their dreams. But after graduation, they went different ways and slowly lost contact. "How have you been?" Emily asked. "I've been okay," Daniel said. "Just working and living day by day. What about you?" Emily went to order a coffee, then returned and began to talk. "I moved to another city for university," she said. "After that, I worked in different places. Life has been busy." They talked slowly, like people opening an old book. "Do you remember our English teacher, Mr. Brown?" Emily asked. Daniel laughed. "Yes. He always told us to believe in ourselves." Emily nodded. He was right. They shared many memories. They talked about school days, funny moments, and old classmates. As they talked, Daniel felt warm inside. It was like meeting a part of his past. After a while, Emily became quiet. "Life is not always easy," she said softly. Daniel listened carefully. "Do you want to talk about it?" Emily took a deep breath. "After university, I tried many jobs. Some were good, some were not. Sometimes I felt lost. I didn't know what I really wanted." Daniel nodded. "I understand. I feel like that too sometimes." Emily smiled gently. "But I learned something important. It's okay not to have all the answers." Daniel thought about her words. They continued talking for a long time. The coffee shop slowly became busier. but their table felt like a small, quiet world. Emily asked, "What about your dreams, Daniel? Do you still want to travel?" Daniel looked down at his cup. "I still dream about it. But I worry about money and work." Emily said, "Dreams can change, but they don't disappear." Daniel smiled. A young couple sat at the next table and laughed loudly. The sound made Daniel remember something. "Do you remember when we studied for exams at the library?" he asked. Emily laughed. "Yes, we were so nervous. And you always brought snacks," Daniel said. Emily smiled. Those were simple times. They sat in silence for a moment, thinking about the past. Then Emily said, "Meeting you today feels special." Daniel agreed. Sometimes life gives us surprises. Outside, the rain began to fall lightly. Emily looked out the window. "I think life is like this rain. Sometimes it's heavy, sometimes light, but it always moves." Daniel said, "That's a nice way to think." They ordered another round of coffee. As they talked, they shared stories about mistakes and lessons. Emily talked about a job she lost because she was afraid to speak up. Daniel talked about times he doubted himself. "I learned that fear can stop us," Emily said, "but we can learn to be brave step by step." Daniel listened carefully. He said, "I often think I am not good enough." Emily looked at him kindly. "You are. Sometimes we just forget." Her words touched him deeply. They talked about family. Emily told Daniel about her parents and how they supported her during difficult times. Daniel shared stories about his younger brother. "Family is very important," Emily said. "They remind us who we are." Daniel nodded. The hours passed quickly. People came and went, but Daniel and Emily kept talking. At one point, Emily said, "Do you ever think about how people change?" "Yes," Daniel replied, "but some things stay the same." Emily smiled. "Like friendship." Daniel felt grateful for this unexpected meeting. He realized that life lessons sometimes come from simple moments, like sitting in a coffee shop with an old friend. Emily said, "When I was feeling lost, I learned to slow down and listen to my heart." Daniel asked, "How did you do that?" "I took small steps," she said. "I tried new things, talked to people, and accepted mistakes." Daniel thought about his own life. Maybe he could do the same. They decided to share one lesson each. Daniel said, "My lesson is to be patient. Good things take time." Emily said, "My lesson is to be kind to yourself." They smiled. The rain stopped, and sunlight came through the window. Emily looked at the light and said, "Every day is a new start." Daniel felt inspired. Before leaving, Emily said, "Let's not lose contact again." Daniel agreed. They exchanged phone numbers and promised to meet again. As they stood up, Daniel felt a sense of hope. Outside, the air was fresh after the rain. They walked together toward the park. Emily said, "Today reminded me that life is full of connections." Daniel said, "And second chances." They stopped at a corner. "I'm really glad we met," Emily said. "Me too," Daniel replied. They said goodbye with warm smiles. Daniel walked home slowly, thinking about the conversation. He felt lighter, as if something inside had changed. That evening, he wrote in his notebook. He wrote about meeting Emily, about memories, and about lessons. He wrote, Sometimes the best moments are unplanned. In the following weeks, Daniel and Emily met again several times. They talked about goals and supported each other. Daniel began to try new things. He took a short course to improve his skills. He spoke more at work. He felt more confident. Emily also continued her journey. She started a new project and felt excited. One day, Daniel realized something important. Life is not only about big events. It is about small moments, simple conversations, and the courage to grow. He remembered that morning in the coffee shop and smiled. Months later, Daniel sat again by the window of the same coffee shop. He held a cup of coffee and looked outside. Emily walked in and waved. "Ready for another long talk?" she asked. Daniel laughed. "Always." They sat together, feeling comfortable and happy. Daniel said, "I think meeting you changed my life." Emily replied, "Meeting you reminded me of who I am." They talked about gratitude and the importance of staying connected. As the sun set, the coffee shop lights became warm and soft. Daniel thought about the lesson of that day. Friendships can return. And life can offer new beginnings when we least expect them. He realized that sometimes, all it takes is a cup of coffee and an open heart. And in that small coffee shop, two old friends continued their journey, learning, growing, and supporting each other, one conversation at a time.